Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Big Apple Hockey, where we are gauging our confidence on NHL topics based. Oh, no. Wow. Jesus. I just jumped right into bar talk. Oh, my goodness. This is what happens when I get rushed to start the damn show. Oh, you guys are. This is a slow death of my life. So, anyway, I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. You can see all my login stuff right there. And I'm joined by Mr. Anthony Larocco.
Mark, you know that song "Fix You" by Coldplay. I think Patrick Waugh finally has fixed the New York Islanders.
Well, if I remember correctly, somebody had that for his theme when that happened, and of course, the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Volkowski.
Patrick Waugh's got the Islanders playing better. The Rangers are playing better. Looks like it's hockey season in New York, kids.
Well, you know what the great thing is? I can say this with a lot of pride. I didn't drop a rap album today, but I mean, I guess that's coming. Josh Host saying dropping a rap album might be one of the dumbest things I have heard. I mean, almost ever. So God only knows on that one. Well, guys, let's just jump right in because we got two good New York hockey teams going on right now in the A block. And we're going to start with the battle for first place in the Metropolitan Division last night as the New York Rangers took on the Carolina Hurricanes. And, of course, Big Apple Hockey trucker hats are available and shirts. Click the links in the description below. And the A block is powered by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. And so getting into it, Rangers 3-0 last week, 43-18-4 right now with 90 points, not 80. I'm going to get rid of that. And the Rangers defeated the Carolina Hurricanes last night, 1-0. The Rangers have allowed one goal in their last three games. I mean, we got a great show. It's not supposed to be my gaffes, but Phil, I'm going to start with you on this one, and then I got some technical problems I have to fix. Phil, does this win secure the Metro Division for the New York Rangers?
Why does that say Central?
It said Metro. It says Metro.
Oh, Mark.
It says Metro. I was actually fixing that. You son of a bitch.
That's two Mark.
Oh,
that's two Mark gaffes right off the bat.
You know, again, I knew today was going to be a great show. I just didn't think it was going to be like this. Oh, I think I'm up to three.
The Rangers win has secured the Central Division title for the Dallas Stars.
See, this is why you guys tune in every week.
Bar talk. Do the Islanders want to make the playoffs?
That was for New Year's resolutions. And that's that they want to.
Oh, my God.
Mark felt spelling in kindergarten.
The wasn't a problem. It was much worse than the spelling. So, Phil, does last night secure the Central Division for the New York Rangers?
You just said the Central again.
Oh, my goodness. Metro.
Oh, God. Call a timeout. He's getting out of hand. Oh, my God. We're going to need a bigger gift.
Oh, boy.
Where's Maria to tell you to get your shit together?
No, I can hear her saying it right now. Mark, get it together. All right.
Did they realize the divisions?
All right.
We're not even 5 minutes in.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man. No, this
Phil, go ahead. I
highlighted that comment already.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil. You gotta fix this.
Time to send it back to the ECA to small apple hockey.
All right. Again, does this win secure the Metro Division for the New York Rangers?
No, it doesn't secure anything. It's only a 6-point lead, Mark. to 6 point lead. It's not an eternity. Do you think the Rangers are going to go on a massive losing streak and Carolina is just going to go on a heater where they win out? No, I don't think either of that is happening, but this doesn't secure anything. It's not a big enough lead. Oh, Jesus Christ. This one's bad. Oh, my God.
It just goes to show you.
I can't right now. These comments are amazing. They're amazing. Keep them coming because this is amazing. But I'll try to keep myself together here and stop cracking up at the freaking comments. But no, it doesn't. It's not that big of a lead. It's not enough to the point. If they had like a 10-point lead or something like that and they just extended it to 12, I'd say, all right, maybe there's a chance that they don't. And I know there's not a whole lot of games left. Carolina and the Raiders both have played 65 games. So that's why that win was big, because not only is it a 4-point swing, but they have the same amount of games played. So there's no games in hand or anything like that. It's going to be harder for Carolina to win the division now, yes, but there's still 17 games left for each team, and a lot can change in those games. The Rangers don't exactly have the easiest of schedules. I was looking at this earlier. Their April schedule, while light on travel, is not exactly light on competition. So Pittsburgh, who's going to want to play spoiler on April 1st. The Devils on April 3rd, another team that hates them, going to want to play spoiler. Red Wings, fighting for a wild card spot. Montreal, that could be a game where they just don't care because they're out of it. And sometimes those games are the hardest games to play because the other team has nothing to lose. They don't care. They're going out there free of any worry, and they don't care. Then you have the Islanders twice in 3 days on the 9th of April and the 13th of April, and the Flyers on the 11th. They play literally every other day in the month of April almost. And then that's not even counting the rest of March. You have the Lightning tomorrow, Penguins Saturday, Islanders Sunday, the Jets, who are a really good team right now, even though they got kind of shellacked by Colorado a bit. On the 19th, the Bruins and the 21st, very good team still. Panthers, who everybody's scared of right now, and they just absolutely ran a train on Dallas after being down 3-0 last night. And then the Flyers, Avalanche on the 28th, and then the Coyotes, which is they only have 2 games against opponents that are really totally out of it. Unless you want to count Jersey. I mean, Jersey is definitely not going to make the playoffs, but they're still kind of a dangerous team. You never know what you're going to get with them. But the Rangers' schedule is not easy. It's not. So, no, this doesn't secure anything.
Anthony, what do you think?
I mean, Phil said everything I'd say. I mean, it's absolutely not. I mean, just look at what happened with the Islanders. They erased a 9-point deficit from Tampa and a 10-point deficit from Detroit just at the a few weeks ago, the end of February. So no, the Hurricanes being 6 points back on the Rangers does not close things out for the Rangers winning the Metropolitan Division here. So the Hurricanes are still a very good team. They're going to keep pushing. But yes, chances are the Rangers are going to win the Metropolitan Division. I don't think anybody's arguing that. The betting favorites right now to win it. But 6 points is not, something that you can't make up ground for the Hurricanes. So it's going to be an interesting finish. My pick is still the Rangers to win it, but again, you can't get complacent. As Phil said, the Rangers do have some tough games coming up. I mean, as does everybody this time of year, but I would say the Rangers are in a comfortable position. They just have to keep playing the way they are and, worry about themselves. Don't look behind them and worry what Carolina's doing. You can only control what you control. Keep playing the style of hockey that you've been. And then, it'll play out how it plays out, which is probably them winning the Metro. But no, you can't discount the Hurricanes yet.
Agreed. I don't think you can discount the Hurricanes. As a matter of fact, you watched them last night. Woo! That team was absolutely flying. The Rangers did a great job keeping them at bay. I think this win does put them in the driver's seat. Now, you just looked at the schedule right over here. I had it up before. Rangers March. They're going at Tampa, at at Pittsburgh, home for the Islanders on St. Patrick's Day. I just want to thank the NHL for giving me a St. Patrick's Day New York Rangers, New York Islanders game, because I can't wait for everybody to be fucking hammered and bus brokers and starting fights. So, all right, that's just where I have my own personal bias. But then again, Boston, Winnipeg, Boston, Florida. Look, you know what, guys? We want to see the New York Rangers be Stanley Cup contenders. This is the time to do it. Those are not easy games. And you look at the Florida game last week, the Rangers lost on a rare bared goal that Igor Shesterkin has let in, because since the All-Star break, he has been incredible. We're going to go to his numbers last year. This is this year. 9-1-1.
Ilya Shesterkin?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mark, you're trying to...
I don't know what you're talking about. It wasn't there. So Igor Shesterkin.
Anthony, are you pranking him, or is this him doing?
I am not.
It was me. It was me. It was my fuck up.
Oh my God, Mark! How?
But how? You didn't read it first, too.
Can we change
I know
this right now?
I know they're best friends, but
it is right. I don't understand. It's Igor on my end. How the hell is that possible?
Jesus Christ!
All right.
Oh man.
Well, first off, this has been a great day for me. No, I'm not even drinking right now, Scott.
That's the sad part. He's not drinking.
I'm not drinking. I had everything. And a matter of fact, hold on. It's got even worse. Oh, no. It's all right. I don't understand. I edited that before it came up. Anyway, so Shesterkin, 9-1-1, 5.1, 1.53 goals a game. And his save percentage has been amazing. This year, guys, he did the same thing, which was an 863 save percentage. And then the rest of the year, he was a 935. So
I'm not gonna need you to step out of the car. I thought that would read, I'm gonna need you to.
Yeah, well, no, it's been a wonderful thing, guys. But Shesterkin right now, he's playing like a guy that kind of wants to get back in this Vezina chase. And Ilya Shesterkin, oh God, I cannot wait for the break. So, all right,
not drunk enough. Yeah, Colbert, he's not drunk enough.
Oh boy! And the good thing is we have 73 people watching right now. So, but this right now, I mean, this is the best the Rangers have played, obviously, all season, and I think they're even better right now than that win streak that they were just on. But now, you know what? You're seeing a guy that. Okay, yeah, we got it. All right.
Numbers.
But no, we're seeing Shesterkin get back into the race.
I'm done, Mark. What the hell is a 935 save GAA? Goodbye.
I can't. Oh my God.
Mark, you're driving me. This Casamigos. I don't know.
Oh boy!
Get to 1,000 on the stream. Mark will drink coffee.
I might need a shot right now after all this. So I'm gonna take a break on that. But so by the way,
oh my God, Keenan left Mark out for a 4-minute shift.
Oh boy. So.
Oh my God.
But by the way, what were your thoughts about Carolina last night? They look like
there's just 935 GAA t-shirts incoming.
All right.
I can't.
All right. Well, let's change gears and let's go to the Islanders. I just wasted the A block, so that's a great job by me. The Islanders right now, they're in playoff position after a 6-game win streak. They had it broken when they played LA on Monday nights, and David Rittich is suddenly the stable goaltender in net. Also, by the way, Anthony, Buffalo crushed Detroit last night 7-3, and Detroit in their last 10. We'll go more into all that in a minute.
has to do
And
with
some of the Patrick Waugh effect. Anthony, get your crystal ball. Are the New York Islanders making the playoffs?
Well, they still got some work to do, but they made winning 6 in a row was certainly a start. I said for them to finally get on a roll, win one, lose one, needed to stop. So that was getting them that 6-game winning streak got them certainly right back in it. Now they're tied with Detroit for the last wild card spot. 2 points behind Tampa Bay, still within shouting distance of Philly with 4 points out of thirds. So, I mean, they certainly put themselves in a good position. So, I mean, the way Detroit's imploding right now, I mean, leg up for the Islanders. But yeah, I mean, I certainly think there's a strong chance they get in. But they just got to, like I said, there's still a lot more work to be done, and they got to keep playing the way they've been playing. But I like what I've seen over the last, 6-7 games.
Phil, what do you think? Are the Islanders going to be a playoff team?
I told Dermo previously. Wow, that's a new one. But yeah, I think they probably will. Detroit's implosion has all to do with Dylan Larkin not being in the lineup. I saw the numbers yesterday on NHL Network, and they were staggering how bad they are without Larkin in the lineup. It's terrible. I don't know when he's coming back. They said supposedly soon. We don't know what that means. There's no real date as to when he's coming back. Philadelphia is not playing well either. They're kind of an up and down team. They absolutely got destroyed by Tampa last week. And it just seems like even though Tortorella is, at command there, doesn't seem like it's really going right for them either. So the Islanders are playing better at the right time, and the teams in front of them are kind of falling down a bit. Philadelphia beat San Jose last night, but they barely beat them. They didn't even look good in that game. So I think Islanders are definitely. I think they're definitely going to make playoffs. It's just a matter of wait. Come on, I'm trying to. Oh man, the last 10, 7-3. Tampa Bay's 4-6. Detroit's 4-5-1. Tampa Bay didn't get Noah Hannafin. If Tampa Bay got Noah Hannafin, I would have been really worried if I were the Islanders. Would have been really worried about getting in through the wild card at that point. But Dylan Larkin loss in Detroit is huge, and the Islanders are finally, they seem to have adjusted to Waugh, and it took them a long, long time to adjust to Lambert, but maybe it just was an adjustment. Lambert was just a bad coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that was more than likely.
Right.
And look, all credit to what the Islanders are doing right now, because a couple of weeks ago, it looked dead in the water. You get some winnable games, and now I think this is a playoff team. We were discussing it in our own group chat, and on top of it, what's going on with the Red Wings right now? A fight at Red Wing practice. I think it's between Ben Sherratt and somebody correct me in the chat if it was JT Comfer. I think was the other one. But they're right now imploding, and now we're seeing what Derek Lalonde is going to be as a coach. And because after all, Detroit wanted Lane Lambert. Imagine if they had him, Anthony.
So it's Lucas Raymond and Ben Sherratt?
Yeah. All right. There you go. Thanks.
Yikes, man. What is going on there? I mean, maybe that's one of those things that you kind of like, it galvanizes you, and everybody, wakes up and realizes, hey, you know what? We needed this kind of fire. But I mean, that's still kind of scary that Lucas Raymond, who's one of your top young players, is fighting Ben Sherratt.
And I, for one, I don't exactly play better when I'm mad at my own teammates. So I don't get when guys say, oh, that galvanized us. I understand they want to spin it that way, go right ahead. But it's just, for me, it's not something I would take. The real question now is, and Anthony broached this in our group chat, and I'll bring it up to you right now, Ant. Are the Islanders going to be the 3 seed in the Metro?
Well, I mean, the thing is, you can't be fooled with the Flyers last night. Yes, they beat the Sharks, but they're god awful. Prior to that, the Flyers have been losing games. So I think despite them jumping back up to 4 points up on the Islanders, I still think the Flyers are very catchable. The Islanders have the games in hand. Tomorrow night the Islanders play Sabres team, which you can't look past. They're hot right now, but the Islanders are playing the Sabres and the Flyers are playing the Maple Leafs, I believe. So it's certainly a good opportunity to get back within 2 points of the Flyers. It's still having a game in hand. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, though, finishing top 3 in the division is what you strive for. But, matchups are important. And, if the Islanders get the 3 seed, they're going to play the Hurricanes, which during the regular season, they fared well against them this year. But in the playoffs, the Hurricanes have beaten them. And I know it's a new year. Anything can happen. But, for the Islanders, I think it might be better to finish in a wild card spot because, and this isn't any disrespect to the Rangers because the Rangers are a hell of a hockey team. But I think we all know when the Rangers and Islanders play each other, records and everything go out the window. And me personally, I would rather take my chances with the Rangers than a Hurricanes team that just always has the Islanders number. But at the end of the day, you just got to get in, though. Wherever you fall, you get in and hope for the best. But, yeah, I do think they can catch the Flyers for sure. But right now, I mean, the Red Wings and the Lightning look like the teams that are certainly up for grabs.
I'll say this.
Geez. Go ahead, Phil.
If you look at the Flyers schedule, their next 7 games or next 6 games rather. Yeah, next 7, sorry, are complete murderer's row. It's Toronto, Boston, Toronto, Carolina, Boston, Florida, and the Rangers. After that, it eases up, though. Then they have Montreal, Chicago, the Islanders, Buffalo, Columbus, Montreal, the Rangers, Devils, and the Capitals. So this next 7-game stretch is going to be a make or break for Philly.
And yes, Roman, the Islanders would have to get to wild card 1 to play the Rangers because wild card 2 would be Florida. So they would have to get into Tampa's spot for that to happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like the Rangers are going to get to number 1 overall in the Eastern Conference. All right. And guys, thanks for sticking with us right there because after all, one of us, the only way to describe the beginning of that is embarrassing. Anyway. Embarrassing. Oh, wait, I'll keep it on. There you go. See, I'm even screwing up my screw-ups. All right, we're going to do a quick message from DraftKings, and hopefully I can forget the first half of that. Hockey fans light the lamp this winter with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. New customers can bet just $5 pregame money line on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. If that wasn't enough excitement, you can turn small bets into bigger payouts with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets like which team will win, how many goals will be scored, and more for your shot at an even bigger payout. Download the DraftKings Sports app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $5 on any NHL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
I'm going to say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. This is where I do the bar talk intro, right? Then I don't do it at the very beginning of the show. Welcome back, everybody, to the Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. We're gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on choice to drink. You're so confident that you're buying everybody around. So I'll have a beer or, oh, God, I need a shot. And just for the record, everyone, I did. So, so play along down in the comments below. First, guys, let's start off with the big news. If you're going to say take height into the factor, Matt Rampe suspended 4 games for elbowing Jonas Siegenthaler. Phil, I'll start with you. Rampe's suspension is proportionately correct compared to the other incidents this year.
Shot, but it is the right suspension. The problem is that, as we all know, NHL player safety department is totally inconsistent. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea of what they're doing over there. So, yes, this is how it should be, and they should start cracking down on first timers for the action itself, not the result and the resulting injury. Like, the problem I have is that in other incidents, something like this happens and the player doesn't get suspended all that much because there's no injury to the player who received the elbow or whatever it is. They actually did the right thing here, but this is the way that it needs to be across the board now. Don't go making an example of a kid because he has a reputation of being a big physical forward and whatever, and he's a young kid, and don't go making an example of him and then don't do anything else to anybody, or give everybody else slaps on the wrist. Treat everybody accordingly now. Be consistent.
Anthony, what do you think? Wow, Anthony, how'd you do that? You disappeared. Literally disappeared for a second.
What?
All right. The Rampe suspension was correct compared to other incidents.
It's a shot in the sense of this, but I do agree that the 4 games was the right call. But it's a shot in the sense, like, for instance, Rempe got 4 games, yet Brendan Gallagher only got 5 for doing what he did to Adam Pelech, which, I thought he should have gotten more. He was also a first-time offender. But, yeah, they're just so sporadic, so similar like how goalie interference calls, just up and down, no consistency. It's the same thing with the NHL Department of Player Safety and their decision making. So it's a shot, but they did get this particular penalty, disciplinary action correct. I just need to do it more uniform and more consistent throughout a season.
I'm gonna make it a hat trick and also say that, guys, if that's what they're gonna do, it's correct. So it's a shot, but because it's the right penalty, get it out of the league. Get it. Make an example with a young kid. I'm going to go with the word hype, not so much the reputation. He's being hyped everywhere, Phil. But the real problem is just what you guys said. Brendan Gallagher, 5 games for leaving his feet and targeting Adam Pelech's head.
That should have been more.
Yeah, it should have been more. Jacob Trouba taking a swing at somebody's head.
Should have been more.
Should have been something. And it's Evgeny Kuznetsov taking a swing at somebody's head. 2 games. I think that was
should have been more.
There's so much inconsistency from the Department of Player Safety. It might as well just be my golf game. All right, guys, moving on across the Islanders. Brock Nelson is going to be up for a contract next year. He can sign an extension as early as July 1st. Anthony, going to you because it's your beat. The Islanders will sign Brock Nelson to an extension this offseason.
I'm gonna go with the beer. Only because I think there's a slight chance that they wait to see how he performs next season. Just because he is getting older, there's a small chance they want to see if he can keep the play up. I mean, he's shown no reason to doubt him because he seems to be getting better. But I do think there's a small window where they decide, let's see how he performs next season, then extend him, at some point next year. But yes, he is eligible to sign an extension July 1st. He is a huge part of this team. Like I said, he just seems to be getting better. Very important to the Islanders. Ever since Patrick Waugh moved him to the top line, he's been fabulous. And I hope he retires an Islander, one of my favorites. But I do think if they do extend him this offseason, like we talked about, look to maybe a Joe Pavelski similar contract that he signed in 2019. But no matter how you put it, this year, next year, they should do whatever they can to make sure he retires an Islander.
Philip, what do you think? Brock staying?
I don't see him going anywhere. He's been a lifelong Islander. Unless they really lowball him and they don't want him back, I still think he can sign like a three-year deal maybe, and he ends up staying. I don't think it's going to be a massive deal, but I could see him signing like a 3-year deal, and then that really kind of winds down his career. And if he still wants to play after that, then it's going to be probably a year-by-year type thing. I'd be shocked if he got a 4th year from the Islanders or anybody.
All right. But wait, beer for the offseason extension, or you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I got to go beer there just because I like Anthony said, I'd imagine they'll probably, with his age, getting up there in age, they're probably going to want to see how he plays. I don't think they're just going to commit to him right off the bat without seeing how the following season goes.
I got to go. You know what? I'm going to go beer on this one too. I think the major question that I have, and I posted it in an article I wrote on our website, as well as talking about you guys today. He's going to be 34 when that new contract kicks in. So it's going to be hard to just say, all right, sign him to a 3-year deal. He's taken pay cuts numerous times for the Islanders. I think Brock is loyal. I think the organization is loyal to him. There's no reason why I think there's going to be a parting. However, he's an interesting question. I think he stays. I think it's just a matter of finding out what works out for that. You know, guys who also stayed this weekend, John Tortorella, because Wes McCauley ejected him from the game. Tortorella would not leave the bench in a timely fashion, as they said, and the NHL suspended him 2 games for his actions against officials. Phil, I'm going to go with you and say, was John Tortorella right to not leave the bench immediately?
Beer. The thing with Tortorella is that he has a history of kind of going against authority. Yeah, obviously, all the Ranger fans remember the whole Pittsburgh and their whiny superstars rant. Not even a year after Mario Lemieux slammed the Islanders publicly and got not even a slap on the wrist for what he did when fight night at the Coliseum happened in that big brawl game where DiPietro basically got his career ended by Brent Johnson, got KO'd. But
although that one was at Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
I thought that was at the Coliseum.
I thought that was in Pittsburgh, and then the fight night game was at the Coliseum.
Yeah,
that was the one where Trevor Gillies was yelling at a guy that was on the ice.
Okay, so then I had it wrong then. But
there isn't a gift for you.
No. So with that, it's just I feel like whatever he does is under a magnifying glass to begin with, because there's just that preconceived notion about him, and he just doesn't care. Let him get it. I'm with David Wood on this one. Let him get his money's worth. Let him get his money's worth at that point, and just let him go. Let him have his tantrum, and then just move on with it, because you know it's going to happen. And Tortorella, if he doesn't do it there, he's going to do it in the press. And honestly, I don't blame him. NHL officiating is horrendous. It's just awful. Oh, yeah, Matt is saying the brawl was at the Coliseum. Yeah, so the brawl was at the Coliseum. So I was right. But,
but not the DiPietro one against Brent Johnson. That was a different night.
Well, no, the fight night, the fight night at the Coliseum is different from that. But,
yeah.
So I definitely think that they are – I definitely think he was just going to do it one way or another. I get they had to find him because they can't let coaches do that now and have that be a thing, because they're not going to turn this into baseball where everybody can kick the ice or the bench or something like that and have their tantrums. But I totally understand why he's angry, because there's zero accountability for NHL officials. Zero. And we've been saying this for years, and there needs to be accountability.
And the sad part is Wes McCauley is one of the best ones. Anthony, what do you think?
That.
Yeah, I mean, typically you want, when the officials, they control the game out there in terms of penalties and misconduct. So, when a guy I'm gonna go. In this case, if he tells you to go, you should go. But at the same time, this is John Tortorella's personality. He gets hot. It's must see TV, and he strongly believed that the referees weren't doing a good job, and he didn't like the call, and he let him have it. So I don't have any issue with it really. I mean, yeah, he should have left right away, but Tortorella's gonna do what he feels best in that moment. He's just a fiery guy, and he wanted to make sure that he got everything out before he left. So, I mean, I don't have a huge issue with it. So I'll go, I'll go beer, but it was pretty funny to see.
You know what? He needed to kind of rescue his team a little bit. They were down, I believe it was 4-0 right there. So they needed to do something. However, in this particular case, yeah, I'm buying around on this one, guys. He needed to give a little jump start to his team, and him kind of giving it to the refs is in there. And Wes McCauley and none of the refs, either him or I forget the other ref that was at the game, nobody went to the bench and ejected him. They just stood across the ice and went, kind of like, are you leaving? Just at least be able to walk over to a guy and go, vamos, you're out of here. Goodbye. Let's go to the other side of the state because, guys, we did not get to talk about this during the trade deadline, so we're going to do that right now. Obviously, Jake Gensel was traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. That was Thursday night, not Friday. But the rebuild has begun in Pittsburgh. I'm going to start this one off. No, they're not going to learn their lesson, guys. They're going to try to go for the cup again. That's just what their team is. They got Crosby, they got Malkin, they got Letang. How are you going to rebuild with those guys on the contract? And who is going to take Erik Karlsson's contract? They're going to run it back again next year. Maybe Tristan Jarry won the Vezina. I don't know. Anthony, what do you think?
I think Ant's frozen.
He might have froze. All right. Phil, well, what do you think?
He's gone. Okay.
Back.
He's coming back in a second. Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything in terms of rebuilding. I don't see it. If the only way that I see them truly rebuilding is if Sidney Crosby says that he wants out. They go to Crosby and he ends up saying, you know what, I'll agree to a trade. That would be it. Now I think Anthony's back.
He's frozen again. All right.
Frozen again. Yeah, I don't know what's
Wi-Fi is really shit in the bed right now.
Yeah, but we can hear you. That's what matters.
We can hear you. All right, there you go. All right. But yeah, I don't think they'll rebuild until they can until Crosby ends up saying that he wants out. And I think he has a year left after this year. So maybe he goes to play with his buddy McKinnon in Colorado, but they just acquired Casey Middlestat for Bowen Byron. So I don't know how that would work. I don't know where else he would go. That's really the beacon of a rebuild right there would be trading him if he agrees to it. So I don't see that happening. And they're definitely not going to be able to move Karlsson. No one has taken that contract. They would have to retain half on what's being retained already in order for them to do that. And that would require so much cap being eaten for such a long period of time that it just doesn't make any sense for Pittsburgh. The only hope is that his play falls off his play falls off such a cliff that he retires, or an injury forces him into retire, because that's the only way that contract is being moved.
Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, it's tough to have a full rebuild when you have Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and Gensel on your roster. So I mean, I think it's more of a retool that you're going to see. Guys like Riley Smith and maybe Ricard Raquel, you find a way to move them for assets. But yeah, I agree with Phil. It's going to be hard to totally rebuild with those guys on the roster. And maybe Crosby has a change of heart and he'll agree to move to really help facilitate their rebuild and basically tear it down to the studs. But I don't know. He's a loyal guy, and I think he has no problem finishing his career with the Penguins despite everything that's going on. Maybe if the Penguins come to him and really push him, maybe he'll oblige. But I don't know. It would just be tough to see. So, I'll go with almost lean towards a shot here, but I'll go with a beer.
And I for
got
one,
you.
yeah. I for one, I look at Sidney Crosby. I see him as a one team guy. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. And yeah, they gave him 6 years.
So dumb.
They gave him 6. I think they gave Malkin 4. Like, what were they doing? And again, it was Crosby saying, "Let's keep the band together," but sooner or later, you got to kind of move on.
You got to turn around and say, all right, so let's just say he was the one that went to them and said that. You got to turn around and be like, listen, like, do you realize how old you guys are at this point? Like you can't go and do that because one player, I don't care if he's Crosby, I don't care if he's Lemieux, if he's Gretzky, doesn't matter. Father Time never loses. Never loses. And these guys are trying to keep this. I don't understand it. I know it's not Dubas that signed those contracts, but boy, even without hindsight, stupid.
Yeah, because after all, if you hang on to great players for far too long, and then you can't move them out, then you kind of could become the Chicago Blackhawks.
Or it's like Batman, where you can either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And you become the villain when you start playing like crap because you're old and you're well past your prime.
Although, by the way, we're not saying that Sidney Crosby is still playing at a very high level. But I was leading into the Chicago Blackhawks. They turned the page. They did it a little bit late too. But Connor Bedard, 5 points last night in a 7-2 victory over the Ducks. Phil, I'll start with you. Bedard wrapped up the Calder last night.
I don't know. I'm going to say beer because I do think that him being 1 point away from being a point per game player is pretty impressive. But have any of you been watching Brock Faber in Minnesota?
Yep, I was about to bring him up.
Mm-hmm.
He has been incredible. Brock Faber, if he keeps going on this type of trajectory, his name is going to be in a Norris discussion one day because he's been great for them. Incredible. He's been their best defender. So I mean, I got to give a lot of credit to him. I mean, so yeah, I don't think he's really wrapped up the Calder. I think Faber's going to get a lot more votes than people think.
Anthony, what do you think?
I mean, I think the league wants their shiny new toy to win the Calder. I mean, after all, they gave him a Winter Classic. I think they want a lot of focus to be around him as kind of like the new face. So I agree. Brock Faber has been amazing for Minnesota. He's been really good. I mean, unfortunately, the Wild are going to miss the playoffs. I think if they would have gotten in, maybe that would give Faber a little more of a leg up. But I don't know. I think Bedard's going to win it, even despite the time he missed. I think he's going to win the Calder. So I'll actually go round here.
You know, I'm glad you guys have brought up Faber and obviously it's Bedard. I do happen to think that at the beginning of the year, Bedard would have to really have a bad season or a really bad injury, which, I mean, he did have an injury, but it wasn't as bad as that. I mean, a broken jaw, I mean, it would be bad for me. It would shut me up for a while. But, I mean, I also look at Ersson in, is that the way you say his name in Philadelphia?
Samuel Ersson in Philly.
Samuel Ersson, he's one of those guys. I know Kochekov's numbers are better if I wanted to put him in there, but Ersson's got not that great of a team in front of him. And I think he's just looked better on the eye test. I know he's got an 899 save percentage, and I think it's like a 2.6 GAA, but I thought he would be my 3 right now. There's a couple other guys you could probably get in there, but I do think Bedard wrapped up the Calder, and they want to give it to him. Absolutely, they want to give it to him. But one goalie that's not going to be playing for a little bit, Thatcher Demko's week to week, guys. I sent this message to you last night. And in the standings of the Pacific, Vancouver has a 10-point lead. Thatcher Demko's injury will cost the Canucks the division title. Mr. LaRocco.
I'm gonna go shot. I mean, 10 points is still a lot. Granted it could be made up again. You saw the Islanders do it, the Red Wings, but I don't know. Vancouver's still a pretty good team. Or well, pretty good. They're still a really good team offensively. They've been a juggernaut all year. Yeah, Demko's out, but I don't think it's going to hurt them that much to the point where the Oilers are going to come from behind and take first in that division. So I'll stick with a shot here and say the Canucks still win despite Demko being out.
Bill?
There you go, shot. And Vancouver is just way too good of a team. I mean, their schedule is not exactly crazy either coming up. So it goes Colorado tonight, which is going to be an awesome game, and that's on ESPN Plus. Washington on Saturday, they can win that one. They can beat Buffalo on Tuesday. Then next Thursday, Montreal. The following Saturday, the 23rd, Calgary. Then they finally have a real tough team in LA, Dallas. Then they have Anaheim, Vegas, Arizona, LA, Vegas, Arizona, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg. Their schedule is not exactly a murderer's row, if you will. But I definitely think that they're still winning that division. And I just don't think – I don't see Edmonton going on another 16-game winning streak again.
Yeah, Edmonton's made up a lot of ground, and they've done a great job. Stuart Skinner's kind of had a little bit of fatigue, I think. His numbers haven't been as good as of late. I am going to go beer, guys, because this is McDavid, and he looks like all right, Matador.
Reppy's a clear Calder winner. That's great.
I do think there's a chance Edmonton can pass them, and I would actually love to see Edmonton pass them. They get Vegas as a wild card, and then they're out in the first round again, because that's just the way it always goes with them. Or is this final of the year? Edmonton plays defensive hockey and commits to it in the playoffs, because you always get a team that can out defend on them. I'm not trying to rip Edmonton, what I just did, actually. So, anyway, so that's the end of Big Apple Hockey Sports Talk, guys, where we gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on a choice of drink. At least it's had far less mistakes than the A block. I will take all the blame on that one.
We can call it the M block for mistake block.
Yeah. Mark's mistake block, that is for sure.
That was the greatest. That was the greatest stretch I've seen on Big Apple Hockey Show.
The only thing even better is that basically you just did the token from South Park to go, all right, guys, I'm out. I don't want to play anymore. So, guys, you got any questions or anything?
Yeah, I highlighted some good ones. Hold on, let me star those. So, Donnell brought up this one up and said, what do you guys think of Anson Carter trying to bring back the NHL to Atlanta? I love it. I think Anson Carter is going to be good for Atlanta. I think that having a name like him, who's a figure within the NHL, pretty prominent figure now in the media, having him on there is actually going to help big time. So I hope that Atlanta is successful. I think they're going to be in a better and a nicer area than they were before. I think they're going to have a better arena. I think things are going to change. I've always said that Atlanta, if they would have had stable ownership and they would have had somebody smarter. I don't even want to. If they made smarter decisions in Atlanta in terms of their players and who they kept and whatnot, I think they would have survived. But Anthony, what are you thinking of Atlanta?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are skeptical about it, 3 times, but there are things that went into it why it didn't work the first 2. They didn't have the greatest ownership. Their team, their management wasn't the best. They weren't in an outdated, arena, not in the best area. So I think with having like a hockey mind like Anson Carter on the, in the ownership group, amongst other investors and whoever else is in it, in a better area, a brand new arena, which obviously huge, that helps. I think it might work. And listen, I think, you hear Bettman kind of like say, yeah, there's a lot of interest from a lot of markets, but it's not kind of like on our forefront right now. But I can tell you, the writing is on the wall. Salt Lake City and Atlanta are going to probably be in the NHL at least within, I would say, 3 years from now at the latest. So
Yeah.
I think it's certainly happening.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of exactly when. I don't know when we're going to get the announcement. I mean, who knows? We could be surprised this summertime and they announce what's going on. In 2 years, they come into the league. Who knows? But I do think both locations are getting teams. I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen, or at least the announcement doesn't come in a year from now. I'd say at least in a year from now, it will be official. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
I'm of the theory of it failed twice. Don't go for a third time.
Hartford. So Hartford don't have a viable arena or area to put it yet. I mean, the reason why they left was because where they were playing, like in the mall, they call it like where the Wolfpack play, just it wasn't feasible anymore. So yeah, Hartford is I think it's a good city. It would be cool to have Hartford have a team back, but you would need a much better arena and a much better location for them to get a team. And honestly, before I would go back to Hartford, I would go back to Quebec in a snap of a finger. I think Quebec, in my opinion, should get a team before Hartford.
And also, you got to think about, is the franchise going to grow in that area? Salt Lake City is another one that kind of looking at. Just come on, Atlanta. Like and I understand that they're going to try to put it a little bit further out, but like where the Braves are, because that's where the area is kind of growing. But it's just I don't see it happening, and I don't really see success that's going to happen there.
I gotta head out to get Ella now, fellas. So I'll catch you guys.
Take it easy, Anthony.
Mark, no more mess ups. We're at the home stretch here.
I know.
Good?
I know.
All right.
But doing good.
Yeah.
So, Phil, although I do have a trivia question for you, and Pete, do not answer this. That who was the goaltender that scored his goal in Hartford?
It wasn't for the Whalers, was it?
No Whalers goalie has scored.
Was it Hextall?
Nope. Hextall is it was versus Boston and versus the Capitals, and I think both of them were in Philadelphia. As a matter of fact.
Okay, so this was in Hartford against Hartford. Was it in the 90s?
It was in the 90s.
Was it Brodeur?
Nope. Pete's saying he thinks he knows. I thought he would.
Go.
And Romanel Urbe did not score.
And it was wild. Yeah, so it was in the 90s. It was okay. So it was sometime between 90 and 97 then. Wasn't Jose Theodore, was it?
No, his was against the Islanders. He's the only one to score a goal in a shutout.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Although, Jari, did Jari shut out Tampa? No, he didn't, right?
No, I don't think so.
I'm going to give you that one. Pete says he thinks it was March 2nd. I think it was definitely around there, late in the season.
96. Goalie goal in 96.
If I told you it was the best team in hockey that year.
Well, that would be Chris Osgood then.
And that would be correct. Because Chris Osgood just got it, flipped it all the way down.
Wow. Why do I not remember that?
Because I think that's the second most forgettable goalie goal. The most forgettable one, everybody forgets it, was the first European to score a goal as a goaltender, obviously. But
Was that Hasek?
no, that is Evgeny Nabokov.
Oh, Nabok. Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, you're like, what?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's go through some of these other ones.
By the way, thanks everybody for joining us.
Facebook user, I can't see who this is, but it says, "Do you think officials have a post-game presser or should have a post-game presser?" Yes, they should have to explain some of their calls. There has to be some sort of accountability for these guys, and yeah, they should have to explain.
I don't think it should be a post-game presser, but I do think they should have to explain them. Maybe not a press conference, maybe definitely not one that airs. I wouldn't want one that airs. I don't want my officials saying something on a hot mic and now it's out. I want at least a filter in
Yeah,
that.
you mean no Tim Peel situations?
Yeah, the Tim Peel situation of no, the puck was by you, and it wasn't. It was not by Henrik Lundqvist. Or even the Ed Hockley situation of, sorry, kid, you're not old enough for that call yet. So, is Igor back? I'm going to go with yes.
You want to see the numbers on Igor? I have these numbers, and they are insane. They are some of the most. They are gaudy numbers. Last 11 starts, 9-1-1, 9.51 save percentage, 1.53 GAA. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. He's back. 2 shutouts in that span in his last 2 games. So, yes, he is back.
Phil, a 9.50 is good enough. Like, sorry, I said 9.50. 9.30 is good enough. 9.50 is insane.
9.50 is stupid. That's video game numbers. J.E. asking, does a win against the Islanders change the conversation about the Sabres?
Well, the Sabres.
You know what? If they get a win against the Islanders, regulation win against the Islanders, they go up to 69 points. Islanders are at 72. When did this? So hold on. So I want to see what the next game is. Thursday. Yeah, there's a conversation change.
It's going to be kind of what the Sabres have been the last few years. They get knocked out of the playoff race. They get themselves back in at the very end to just miss. That's what it's going to come down to.
I don't know about that, but you
look at them, 66 games. Nobody's played more games in the East besides them and the Flyers. They played the most amount of games. And
I get it, but they're close at that point. Games in hand are good, but you have to win those games.
I agree with you on that. And they're going to have to really show up. I don't have the Sabres schedule in front of me at the moment, but we'll see what the next question is.
Gav suspected average.
Oh man!
Oh my God!
Oh man!
Man!
At least I got a good enough spirit that I can endure this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I'm gonna go to Bailey's. Was the last one I starred because Bailey's asked this apparently like 3 times already. Chances Gensel goes back to Pittsburgh and free agency.
None.
I don't know about that.
None. He declined a contract at the beginning of the season. Pittsburgh does not have the money under the salary cap to give him. Certainly not for long term. I haven't sat down and tried to figure out where he's going to go. I think he's going to find greener pastures. You look at that resume that he's got together. He could possibly find at least $9 million on the open market. I think. What do you think, Phil?
Gensel, yeah, he's probably about a $9 to $10 million player. If he continues to be like a point per game, 40-goal guy, he is definitely a $9 to $10 million player at that point. I could definitely see him getting 9.5 to 10 somewhere. Someone will give him it. Guys always get overpaid in free agency. Teams want to get their guy when they're out on the market, and not have to give up assets to get him. So yeah, that's the guy. Let's go and see some other ones here.
David's saying it's not a video game because I've never played an NHL game where the goalies didn't suck. Well, it depends.
You're playing it on too easy then at that point, buddy.
Yeah. But the Rangers should have 3 shutouts in a row, as Matt is saying.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Matt's definitely right about that. And yeah, the interesting question for Brody is, where does Gensel go? So
that's a great question, Phil. I just don't know where exactly to say he goes.
Pete saying Teravainen and Pesce come off the books. Do you really want to lose 2 assets for Gensel? Here's the question that you're going to have to ask yourself if you're the general manager there. Do I want to continue to go with Teravainen and Pesce, or do I want to go with Gensel and promote from within? Because Teravainen is not the scorer that Gensel is.
No.
But Pesce is a very important defenseman. The problem is that Pesce might command a decent chunk of change on the market because he's a legitimate top 4 defenseman that can log well over 20 minutes a game and handle the defensive responsibilities very well.
And Jay might have come up with a new word, marked. So, oh boy, not the best way. I should have done that. By the way, Phil, how about the as he's mentioned right here, I'm with Marek. You should have pulled him in regulation too. Because here's the question. There it is. Matt's asking, what do you guys think about John Hines pulling the goalie in OT? Doug, what do you think?
I didn't see that. What happened?
Well, he ended up, the Wild got possession in overtime. They go down the ice. They make it a 4-on-3. And you know what happens in that situation?
They turn over the puck and they score in an empty net.
If that happens, then they lose their loser point. Which Matt Boldy, who one timed it in.
Oh, I forgot about that rule.
Yeah. Matt Boldy, who one timed it in, didn't know about that rule. Reminiscent of, I know Donovan McNabb and some of the San Francisco 49ers that all said that they didn't know about that rule.
You know what? I think it was Steven actually brought that up to me a while back.
Yeah, they made it in the KHL that you could still keep the rule, to keep the point. I'm not sure if they changed that recently, but in this particular case, I'm surprised you don't see more of it, because I think the last time I heard on NHL Network that I think the last time this rule applied was with Chicago, and that
he's saying it happened in '94 with the Panthers doing something like that against the Nordiques.
Well, the thing is, 94 the loser point wasn't there, but I think they pulled it in overtime because they needed the points in order to make the playoffs, and they fell short.
I think they need to go to a 3-point system and get rid of loser points in general. I've been saying this for years now. Marek's point was that they should have pulled the goalie in regulation to deny Nashville the point. I see what you're saying there. I get it, but I go to 3 points for me. 3 points for regulation win, 2 points in overtime win, 1 point for a shootout win if it has to go to a shootout, and 0 points for losers. I'm sorry, get rid of the loser point. I'm sorry, I'm tired of seeing it. I really am. It's just, why are we rewarding teams for getting to overtime?
Well, because the reason why, and somebody explained it to me a while ago, is because you're tied in 60 minutes. So you're then playing for the extra point after that. And look, I'm okay with it a little bit. I'm with you. I would go to a 3-point system.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I would go to the 3-point system is it keeps the points going and the teams keep accruing points, but it rewards regulation wins, which are much more important than overtime wins. And that's why in a shortened tournament like the Olympics, that works well. But if you looked at the New York Islanders in the last week, I think they won 6 in a row. I think all of them were in regulation. That would put them kind of near, like, in a really good situation to try to get the second place. I think that would completely change up everything in the standings and in a short form. And I'm actually not against the shootout. I'm okay with the shootout because the shootout itself, it's a way to end the game. It's exciting. You saw the Ichikov goal the other night in the AHL. It produces moments like that, or Merrick Malik, that play. But on the other hand, it also produces plays like the debatable goal of Mitch Marner, I think it was 10 days ago, that he ended up coughing up the puck a little bit, but they said he continued going forward.
Yeah, that was bullshit. That wasn't a goal.
I think he went. Yeah.
I'm gonna move away from that, and we'll talk about this one here. Yes, Shang Peng, who writes for the San Jose Sharks, actually reported this, that they had a trade in place for Alexander Barabanov, but it fell through because San Jose basically ended up pulling off the Tomas Hertl trade and retained on Hertl, and the Rangers couldn't afford Barabanov's cap hit. But I wonder if that was before. I would imagine it was before Roslovic, and they went and got Jack Roslovic late. Barabanov would be a very good fit for the Rangers. I think he would have worked out perfectly. But I do think Roslovic is playing some very good hockey right now. I think he played his best game as a Ranger last night. I think he was really good. And I think he's just going to get better. He's going to get that point. He is.
I just wonder exactly what the mechanics of this were, that if the trade was in place, did San Jose have that retention spot already there? Like, was it already filled by Barabanov going to the Rangers, or did they just renege and go, yeah, we didn't put the call into the league yet, so we're going to pull that back? And then they're saying basically they wanted to retain 17% of the salary for Hertl. It's just
no, it's not a dumb question at all, Francesca. It actually does count against the cap.
Yeah,
so
that is true. But as Jay said right there, to continue what you're saying about Roslovic, that first line right now is buzzing with him.
They played really good last night. I thought they were really good. They understood that it was going to be a tight checking game, and basically the way I worded it on Twitter last night, because I know a lot of you guys and girls follow me, is responsible. They went up to the task and they played a smart, responsible game. And yeah, Carolina had the puck, but if you actually look at the amount of high danger chances that Carolina had last night, wasn't a lot. Really wasn't a lot. That third line, and I'm with Bailey on this, that third line was great. That third line has been great since they've been put together.
Yes.
That's key. And that's what I was saying. When they brought in Wenberg, one of the things that I said was that he was going to come in and be a facilitator on the line for those two. And those two needed somebody that could get to the puck and a third smart player that knows where to be. Wenberg knows where to be 99.9% of the time. He is there. He's just in the right spots at the right time, and he's actually played more physical than I thought he would play, especially last night. He played a very physical game last night, Wenberg. He did not shy away from contact. He went in on it, and he's actually a little bigger than I thought, too, like 6'2" and 195 pounds. I mean, that's not exactly small. So he played a playoff-type game last night. That's a real good sign. So
I do have to say this, that last night I looked at that game, Phil, and a lot of people might want to say, oh, the Rangers did this, the Rangers did that. Carolina played a great game too. And I actually think both teams played an outstanding game. It's just, and their goaltenders, both of them were amazing. And Kochekov was great. I don't know if that translates, but what Shesterkin is doing right now, wow. He is just on a new level. And you might see a guy like Jacob Trouba moved quicker to make room so that way they could pay him, even though that extension wouldn't kick in.
That's another thing. Zach Jones played his best game ever last night. He was incredible defensively.
I do think Zach Jones isn't much of a needle mover. I have my opinion on that, but I got to give him credit. He played a great game last night. And Phil, I also think when Trouba comes back, they have to seriously give some thought to
Trouba and Gustafsson and Miller and Schneider. That has to happen. Keandre Miller plays like a different player when he's not with Jacob Trubin. You can see it. It's apparent now at this point.
If the Rangers want to be Stanley Cup contenders, and they already are, but I mean actual Stanley, like they're in like the 1 or 2 that could do that. You got to split those two guys.
It has to happen, yeah. And I'm with Matt. If they can find a way to move him, they have to try to find a way to move him at this point. That contract's only going to get worse, and his foot speed's only going to get worse. So they're going to have to find a way to try to move him or something, because I just don't see him as an option going forward. Like I think that he's, and I'm with Pete on this. I think the thing is they're better against a team like Carolina or Florida who can really push the pace, because Carolina and Florida forecheck you in waves. They're aggressive. They pinch, and they pinch often, and they forecheck you just in wave after wave after wave. The only way to beat that is to have a perfectly executed breakout. Zach Jones was incredible in the breakouts out of the zone last night. He made like 4 or 5 plays where I was just like, whoa, wow, like this kid can do all of that. And he had somebody chasing him behind the net. I forget who it was. It was late in the third. And I said it. I was just like, that, if that's Trouba, that puck gets turned over, that's probably a goal against, the game's tied. But Jones was able to escape, get out of the zone, and even though he didn't have a pass, he just kind of slowed the play down a little bit afterward, and then made the pass, which was deflected into the zone for a dump in. And that's the difference between keeping that lead and then turning the puck over and having that goal scored against it and being a tie game.
I think one thing about Jones, and I'm going to get to Mikey's comment right here because I do want to bring this one up for you, Phil, that when I think about Jones, I think about the play in Dallas where basically he just got out muscled in front of the net, and it was quite obvious. That was back in November, but you know what Mikey's saying right here is where it is. Best thing about Jones is that you didn't hear his name too much. Miller still makes the same mistakes.
Miller made one bad mistake.
And
it ended up in Carolina's first high danger chance against, and that was in the second period. Otherwise, Miller was phenomenal last night. I have been super tough on Miller. Miller was really good.
And going with that, if you don't hear a defenseman's name too much, you either hear it a lot because he's making a lot of plays. Like that play, how we doing? And that play where Miller, like I think it was Aho was trying to get by him, and he just kind of made a kick save, kicked the puck off of his stick, and then picked it up and went the other way.
Yeah, I made a really good play on Aho. I liked that he basically just shoved Aho down there. Miller made another really good play. So Kuznetsov took the puck coming in from the right side boards. It was in the third period. I think it was after the 10-minute mark. I can't remember exactly when it was. But he was coming down the right side, and he beat Miller. Miller caught up to him, tracked him behind the net, and then cut him off, nailed him, and body positioned himself to take the puck, and then went away with the puck. Now, Miller playing with Trouba when his head's all out of whack, he probably doesn't make that play. But Miller last night made that play and made several plays. He made another play where he absolutely sent someone flying. I don't know who the hell it was, but it almost looked like a cross check because of where this hand positioning, but I don't think it was because they didn't call anything on it. But he absolutely sent some dude flying. And I was like, okay, Keandre's mad, and now he's playing like a man.
But I mean, you see, and sometimes you do just addition by subtraction, and it helps out a lot more. Look at Colorado. Matt Duchene got traded, and Nate McKinnon explodes into a megastar. But again, Pete, actually, that's a good point with that. And when the Rangers were aggressive against Carolina, they weren't passive. When they were aggressive, there was a 3-on-2 in the first period when Zibanejad said, "I'm going right to the middle of the ice," ends up sliding it across, and I think Roslovic had a chance right there. Or another play where it was Miller that pinched in, the puck squirts through, and Zibanejad gets it. Couldn't get it under control, but he had Roslovic at the right post. Roslovic then pulled a Dan Girardi, went behind the net for no reason. I still don't understand what he was doing right there.
But Carolina, I mean, if you look at Valaket's chances, Valaket's stats from CSA ClearSight Analytics, his company, Carolina had 26 chances. The Rangers had 22. 6% were high danger chances, very low. 4% were mid, and 16% were low, and they had an expected goals against of expected goals for, I should say, of 2.86. So that's really good to keep a team like Carolina to the vast majority of their chances being low danger shots. It's really good.
Joe is saying right here, Schneider skates so much better and more aggressively than Trouba. It complements Miller so much better. I agree with him 100%.
Yeah, I'm with Graves on that one.
And I also think that maybe Trouba's game might complement Gustafson's a little bit better. And I think the Rangers have to give that a look. You have to do it. Now you're not talking about Braden Schneider being a bust or even Keandre Miller. So that would be what I would look into. This, by the way, Pete, I would also think about it. Who knows? It could be like the Florida series last year where Carolina was tight every single game and 3 games were lost either in overtime or basically won in the final 10 seconds. I mean, that was the 3rd game. So all 3 out of the 4 games were basically overtime winners, and all 3 by Matthew Tkachuk. So
it's just crazy how they by the way, the numbers I just mentioned for Valakut, it's not actual percentages. I'm sorry, I may have said percentages, but 6 high danger chances for 4 mid, and then 16 low percent. So the vast majority of them were low percentage chances. That's incredible, man. They did a real good job on Carolina. That first period was all Rangers. They outshot them by over double the margin. In the first period, I think it was 11-5. And then the second period, Carolina really kind of turned it up a bit, but they still didn't get any high danger chances. Then the third period, I thought the Rangers locked it down for about half of that period. They were real good. Aside from that back and forth, whatever that was, for like 3-4 minutes, whatever that was, where they just kept trading chances there. I was like, what is going on here? Sam and Joe were going nuts. They were like little kids in the booth. They were having so much fun with it.
Oh, that was ridiculous. And one group that's very much unsung, Philk, is since the NHL All-Star break, the Rangers 3rd in the league in the PK, 85%.
Yeah.
1% behind Pittsburgh, and only 3.5 behind Carolina. And I think even if you shave 2 weeks off of that, we'll shave a week. I think it's 2 weeks. Then the Rangers then become at a 92% clip. So it's they've been keeping track on that one. If the Rangers can keep that up, because you need to keep the puck out of the net.
Remember, there was a big problem with the penalty kill for a long time with the Rangers. Very long time earlier on this year, where the power play was good. Penalty kill was good for a while. It was also top, I would say, 5 or so. And then it fell off hard. But now now you got guys like Nick Bonino gone from it. It's so much better. I want to see Wenberg become their top penalty killing center. I want to see Zibanejad take a little less of the penalty killing work, so that this way he can save himself offensively. I think that may be a little bit of a problem. Maybe Peter Laviolette needs to kind of regulate him a little better in terms of his PK time as opposed to his other time. And I get it. Mika Zibanejad is supposed to be your Swiss Army knife number 1 center. I get it. I really do. But you got to regulate his time so you don't burn him out come playoff time.
But also the opposite could be true too, Phil, because if they get into a game where they're taking penalties early on, which the Rangers have been pretty good with that this year. They haven't been one of the most penalized teams or something like that. But you want your star to get into a rhythm. And sometimes when you get like the Alexander Ovechkins that don't play penalty kill, they don't get that ice time. They don't get into a rhythm, and then they're not on the ice.
Rick Nash always played better when he was a penalty killer.
Yeah,
he under Hitchcock in Columbus, under Tortorella in New York. Even Vigneault, when Vigneault put him back on the penalty kill, he produced better when he was killing penalties. So the stick play that Wenberg made on the PK, yes, Alex Wenberg is one of the smartest players on this team. He does the little things that make everything work. And he did several of those things last night. He just always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And he just does the little things all of the time that make plays happen. Like that shift later on in the game, right before I would say the last couple of minutes, when Kakko, Wenberg, and Cooley went out, and they grinded Carolina down in their own zone and kept the puck in their own zone. I think there was maybe about three minutes left or something like that. That was a key shift because that wore off a bunch of time from the clock and it kept them in their own zone.
Yeah.
So, and then the Rangers were able to have rested players for the final 2-minute stretch and kind of just wore the time down at that point. So that's key. It can't go overlooked.
And Phil, also with that line, Kakko ends up being the force on that line. Then you have Wenberg, who's helping to make plays, and then it lets Cooley just win the board battles and have the physical play. Dave, right here, I hear you. I know you want to hear some Islanders stuff or maybe something, but
this is I guess this is a friend of yours.
Oh, I don't know. I sometimes people can get tired of us talking about the Rangers the entire time. But one thing
I wish we had Anthony still on with us so you could talk more Islanders than at that point. I mean,
we had some that we covered. However, one thing to mention though, under Patrick Waugh, their penalty killing is still not good. 28th in the league at 70%.
No.
So
I mean, the percentages. I mean, really. That's not the number you want to look at, the overall number. You want to look at the number of where they've been since Waugh. That's what I want to know.
No, but under Waugh. Okay,
so under Waugh you're talking.
Just under Waugh. Overall, they're still the worst. So,
that's not good.
And I still don't understand how you're the worst with that roster of players that do that penalty killing. So, 72.2%. Under Waugh, they're actually 70%. Other people have been worse than that.
Okay, Dave, calm down a little bit over there, buddy. Calm down a little bit.
Hey, you know what? They've looked good as of late, and that's the thing.
Calm down.
Waugh's got them going good.
We can talk Islanders, but you got to calm yourself down a little bit over there.
Well, to say this, by the time they play the Rangers Sunday, you think they're in a playoff position? Even though they're in one right now, they're tied. I mean, sole possession. They get Buffalo and then they get Ottawa.
It's very possible. They have 2 games against 2 teams that they should beat.
The way they've been playing, yeah.
It's two.
I'm just trying to. I'm imagining the letdown game. Like, which one is the letdown game? Is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow night or is it tonight that they take on Buffalo? No, it's tomorrow night they take on Buffalo.
No.
And then you have right after that is the Senators. Buffalo is the one that's chasing the Islanders, and the Senators are a bottom feeder. Now the Senators are playing the worst hockey of any team.
This is getting stupid.
Yeah. Well, we just don't have to click on it.
Yeah, this is getting stupid. Sorry, you're getting banned for this. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you keep yelling and typing in all capitals, but yeah, no. Sorry. That's just dumb.
Yeah. But so we'll see about all that. But I think they're going to fall off eventually, but we're going to figure out how that's going to go.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. They have, it's 2 games that they should win, and then you have the Rangers who are playing Pittsburgh on Saturday, which is funny. and then you have the Islanders the very next day. So, Joe Shane Train, that's what I just did. I just moderated that.
We try to get that. We try to get that on.
Yeah.
We try to get the moderated. Look, we always want everybody to have their passion and to be kind of sly with it. We're gonna have a lot of those. We had a lot of problems a couple years ago on Free Agent Frenzy.
Yeah, we're a Buffalo Sabres fan, and some of them coming in or something like that. We're not happy with the whole Jack Eichel thing, and yeah, Ho-Sang releases an album and signs with a team. Yeah, I don't know who's signing Ho-Sang at this point. I really don't.
Well, don't you know he's more talented than Connor McDavid?
Oh, that's what Don Cherry said.
Yeah. And sure. The league is littered, and not just the league. Sports are littered with guys that have all the talent in the world and not a brain to put it together. And if you got to be faster, you got to do things intelligent.
Pittsburgh is having some real problems, Pete. They have, I think, 2 games with power play goals in their last 10. The numbers I put in the chat last night in our group text were just unreal. So Pittsburgh has lost 7 of their last 8. Their only win was against Columbus. They're 0 for their last 11 power play attempts.
Phil,
they're not looking good right now.
For the season, where do the Pittsburgh Penguins rank?
What?
In the power play.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not looking at that.
I am. Yeah, I'm asking you to take a guess.
I'm going to say bottom 5 in the league.
You're correct. 29.
Wow.
They're worse than Connor Bedard's Blackhawks. I mean, the only teams worse than them are the Flames. Can't explain what's going on with them. The Blue Jackets, who, I mean, when are they ever going to put it together? And the Flyers, who we know all about their stuff.
They're flat. Tortorella teams almost never seem to have good power plays. It seems like the last Tortorella team that had a real good power play was like the 04 Tampa Bay Lightning.
And didn't he coach?
You had Richards, San Luis, LeCavalier, Cabina. I mean, they had weapons out the wazoo.
And didn't he coach the Canadians when they had the number 1 power play team? Like he was an assistant.
Tortorella?
He was an assistant with the team, if I recall correctly, when they had the number 1 power play unit.
Tortorella? No, I don't think he was ever an assistant with.
I think he was. I'll double check him.
Are you thinking Buffalo in the early 90s?
Could have been.
Because he was an assistant in Buffalo when McGillney and LaFontaine were having their heyday together. I know that. Hold on, I want to check what years he was there, but I know he was with them during that time. Yeah, he was an assistant with the Sabres up until 94-95. That was his last season as an assistant.
Yeah, because he was definitely on a team that had a real good power play at one point.
Yeah, he was an assistant under Muckler, and then Muckler, when he came to the Rangers, brought Tortorella in with him, and then Tortorella ended up taking over for Muckler when Muckler got fired.
Yeah,
first year with the Rangers.
It's amazing how a guy can get his first win with a team and his second win are 10 years apart.
Yeah, amazing.
So, but Tortorella definitely has had a very interesting coaching career. Because if you look at Tampa Bay had all those great players and
Carlson for Norris, buddy. Carlson for Norris.
Carlson is definitely a Norris.
Oh yeah,
should have won the Norris last year.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I don't care about your 100 points. You can't play defense. Get the reward and then stop giving the Norris to players who don't deserve it, that don't play any defense.
Yeah, me and Pete back in the day discussing it at lunch.
So,
but there's I do think they need a Rod Langway award. I'm okay with the Rod Langway and a Bobby Orr, and still giving out the Norris Trophy.
Yeah, I'm okay with all of that as well. I think that I think they do. It is needed, and the fact that Langway won 2 Norris trophies in the '80s while scoring under 40 points is one of the most ridiculous things I think we will ever see in hockey, ever. I think it's as ridiculous as some of Gretzky's accomplishments, because the Norris has historically, for the longest time, been given to guys who have had big offensive years. I know Harry Howell won one with the Rangers, and Harry Howell was not a big point producer, but Harry Howell won one in his best offensive year. So seeing Langway in the middle of the 80s, the highest scoring era ever, just win the Norris twice with under 40-point seasons, that's just insane. It's insane. And no, Mikey, Bobby Orr was not a slouch then. Bobby Orr was a great defenseman. He was great at both ends. If you talk to me about the most dominant player 200 foot end to end the game has ever seen, it's Orr. It's Orr, and I don't even have to think about it.
No. Bobby Orr is the greatest defenseman of all time. And yeah, Pete's got it right here. You're going to highlight this.
Yeah, Mike, you said the same thing at the same time. He was a plus 124 one year. He won a scoring trophy as a defenseman. How stupid is that? And everybody talks about, Esposito. Yeah. What did Esposito do after he got traded to New York and Orr was hurt? He didn't do a whole lot.
I do have to say,
a good player, but he was not nearly as good as he was in Boston.
I do have to say, as we're talking about Jacob Slavin right here, as everybody regards him as the best defensive in the league. But I mean, you get the guys like Ryan Lindgren, Adam Pelech. There's lots of other guys around the league. Jonas Siegenthaler could fall into that list eventually, but a lot of guys that are good defensively. Thank you very much, everybody. Make sure you're
please like, share, and subscribe.
And
the
if
more
you're
likes we get, the more it comes around in the algorithms, and the more those viewer counts come up, and the more events that we can do, and the more things we can do, more free giveaways and stuff like that. So we appreciate every single ounce of help we can get. And while we're on this, I have a feeling you were going to try to say it before, but I think I may have cut you off. Thank you all for tuning in with us on Friday for the trade deadline. Getting nearly 1,100 viewers at one point was incredible. We were for a while, we were well over 1,000, and we were very close to 1,100, even in the 4:00 hour, which is insane to think about because all the trades were made by then. So,
well, we're getting a lot of support on X, so everybody, thank you over there.
Yes.
Make sure you're hitting the hearts.
Yes, please.
But we're getting a lot of eyeballs on us, and that's where we had that. Yeah, Brody, actually, like I said before, I did take a shot for that. And yes, we try to be as interactive as possible, Mikey. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because
we try to be very interactive. There are times we are on some short schedules, so we're not running up against anything right now. We are probably going to cut this short soon, but
well, we're at least 45 minutes over right now. So
we're usually done around, like, I would say 6:55, but I mean, we've done, I think, at least 30 or so minutes of Q&A at this point, maybe longer.
Yeah. And
and we don't want anybody to ever feel ignored. Like, I know Bailey was literally asking me that question about what I forget what question it was.
It was about
the one that you asked literally like 5 times in the chat, and I finally got.
Is Gensel going to re-sign in Pittsburgh? I think it was.
Yes, yeah, it was the chances of Gensel re-signing in Pittsburgh. That's it. Mark gets golf clap for that.
Yeah. Hey, the night didn't start well for me, but it's ending well.
But yes, thank you, Matt, and check out Ranger Central too while you guys are on here. So support those guys as well. Matt and Evan are always in the chats here, so definitely check them out. They're great. We actually met them at the Stadium Series. We hung out with them for a while. Great group of guys. Definitely check them out and support them as well.
Mario, how you doing?
What
a game last night.
Sheesh.
What a game.
Butthole clenching hours, but yeah, definitely a hell of a game.
I wouldn't mind if Johnny Lazarus, if we could
get him. I like Johnny Lazarus. You know what? I feel bad. Johnny Lazarus has always been very nice to me. Never had any problems with him. And then people just come out of nowhere and just hate on him for whatever reason. And I don't get why. But he's always very nice to everybody. I mean, he looks like he's genuinely enjoying life and what he's doing. And then just there are some people who just don't like him for whatever reason. So, yeah, you know what? At some point, I do want to ask Johnny to come on with us. I think that would be awesome.
Well, one guy that I want to message to try to get him on is Dan Fischler. I am on the train and on the trolley. That guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It is preposterous that he is not.
Yeah.
First off, by the way, always great to see John D. Lee.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, I'm going to mention another guy in a second, but Pete was mentioning that the clock went too fast last night. I have no idea what he was talking about. That felt like the slowest clock.
Yeah, what are you kidding? Are you kidding me? I felt. Listen, if I didn't know any better, I felt like I was sitting on a toilet clenching my ass because I was wondering when the hell Carolina was going to score some goal. That was every period felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life.
But so Fischler's won. We had a nice interaction today because on one of the Twitter posts or threads, somebody put down who was somebody that was on both sides of a rivalry. Can I name one? And I named Ray Ferraro, and Ray Ferraro was talking about himself for this. Ray Ferraro was a guest of our show. I invited him back yet again because it was great when we had him on, because he's just great hockey talk, and he has always been intense ever since and he was one of those guys, Phil, like all these guys. They come on, they go, I can only do about 10 minutes. Half an hour later, they're still here.
Yeah, I mean, he went for a while. I didn't think he was going to stay on for as long as he did, but as soon as I asked him that question about the Penguin series, he just went and took over. And I was like, please, just the floor is yours, man. The floor is yours.
Jay, we actually had Neil Smith.
Yeah, Neil has been on with us, and Neil was another one where we thought we would get maybe 10, 15 minutes, and Neil was on even longer than Ray was.
Yeah,
Neil was on for like almost 45 minutes, I think.
I still have to cut part 2 of that interview because the only reason why I'm saving it to repost is because it's not really time sensitive, so I could do it during the off season when we need to fill in some gaps. But that was yeah.
So there was an icing call that was against the Rangers. And it was
27 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and there was another one earlier where it was a questionable one where they threw it down, and Carolina. It was the Miller. It actually was the Miller one. Now that I'm thinking about it, but the Carolina player was close enough to it, stopped skating, and they called it an icing when Carolina had 3 consecutive plays, where they got away with the same thing. The Rangers tried to do the same thing, and they called it icing against the Rangers. I didn't like the consistency with the icing last night. That's literally my only gripe with the officiating. Oh, and other than Jordan Stahl, who I think is one of the worst with getting away with stick infractions. I don't understand how he gets away with the hooking and stuff away from the play that he does. He must be really good at hiding it.
Yeah, Matt was talking about that happened in Game 7 of the '94 Finals twice, actually. Esa Tikkanen nearly went off on Jeff Brown, I believe it was, that he slowed down so much, touched it up for an icing, and Tikkanen's like, you got to be kidding me. The play should have still kept going. But the worst one still, and it's funny about this because I talk about this, and if I ever got the chance to meet him, I'd ask him about it. Sam Rosen had in his back pocket, that's it. 54 years of curses are over. No more 1940. And then Kevin Collins calls an icing. Blu-ray stopped skating from the red line and is just gliding to the puck. And then now you had to restart it all over again. But of course, this one will last a lifetime is what they then had. So, Phil, let me ask you this question, and then we'll get out of here in about like 5 minutes, or maybe even 2 minutes. Other than Big Lou, because I think Big Lou would be number one on my list, even though if he looked over at some of my criticisms, he would not be happy with me. What would be one of the guys, no New York guys, nobody from this area, who would you want to have on? Like having Jim Dowd on was fantastic.
Yeah, Jim was great too. He was another one. He was on for like 40 minutes with us. I honestly think he would have stayed on with us for the rest of the damn episode. He was fun. He was fun. He was so nice. He was really good. I would love to have him back, and I know he would come back in a heartbeat too because he loves you. He absolutely loves you. So, oh geez. Anybody, or is it specifically media personalities?
Well, obviously Connor McDavid or somebody like that. I guess we're not going to shoot for the stars. No, like McDavid or Gretzky.
Okay, so let's keep media personalities and realistic
media personalities. Maybe ex players that might be interesting.
Oh, okay.
Here's one. Donald Brashear.
Yeah, he's playing in that league in Quebec. I've seen. Terry Ryan actually played in another game. That would be that's a funny one. Terry Ryan, who was a fighter briefly in the 90s, who's, as we know, Ted Hitchcock in Shoresy, came back and played a professional hockey game, which is funny as hell. I think he's 48 years old or something like that, and he played game. Guys that I would love to have on.
Oh, by the way, here's one. Stu Grimson.
Grim Reaper is a good one. Yeah, it's a real good one. I like Stu. I really do.
And you know what? He writes children's books. So
that's just crazy. A guy that was nicknamed the Grim Reaper because of how tough of a fighter he was writes children's books. He was also in that commercial though in the 90s.
Yeah, the
daughter.
Yeah, with the daughter raised.
Yeah. So
that
doesn't surprise me as much knowing that, but it's still funny to hear that he writes children's books. Yeah. Jackie Redmond, oh my God, please. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to get through that one. Sorry.
Get Hugh Jessamine.
Hugh Jessamine. Shut up, David.
Actually, we were working. We almost had Kerry Fraser in play. I'll get my coach to get us Kerry Fraser because I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of good stories.
Kerry Fraser would be a real good one.
Yeah,
my camera will be off. Yeah, I might end up being beat red for most of that interview. So I mean, I may sound like Mark during that interview because I'm stumbling over shit because just Jackie is, oh my God, she's something else. But yeah,
what?
I you know what? There are a few names that I could think of off the top of my head that I would really want. John Forsland.
Okay.
John Forsland would be a real good one because I just think he's one of the best in the business in terms of play-by-play. I love him. He's great. Seattle got a real gem with him. And
Olczyk. Both good ones.
Olczyk, yeah. Edzo would be a good one. Edzo would be a very good one. Sean Avery would be absolutely hilarious, as DP is saying. Yeah, that would be funny. I met Van Beesbrook at the draft. Anthony and I both met him. We talked to him for a very short time. Anthony's jumping back on now.
Yeah, I guess he wants to answer that question. The funny
Yeah.
part, I need to jump off.
Valcat would be near the top of my list because I would love to. I've met Valley and I've talked to him for a little bit outside the Garden, but he was actually very, very nice. Howie Rose would be excellent one. Excellent.
I had a wish list. I wish I had thought of all these. Anthony, who's a guy that's not a New York guy you would love to have on?
Not a New York guy?
Yeah.
What do you mean
like not Jeremy Roenick.
Oh, this guy, just a guy who has no ties to the Rangers and Islanders on the show?
Yeah.
Mark Recchi.
That's a good one.
Wow. Okay.
That's a good one.
I think he's played with a lot of good players, had a long career. I think he'd be he's been coach at the coaching level.
I think he's got one of the most underrated careers, if that makes any sense. Like he had a great career, and he's won 2 Stanley Cups, one with the Penguins, one with Carolina. He was at a
3.
I thought he didn't. I thought he missed the second one.
No, 3. Boston 2011.
Yep.
Oh, Boston
he became the oldest player ever to score a point per game in a final series.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, this is my man right here, Mike Modano.
Yeah.
I fucking love Mike Modano. I would probably be a friggin' fanboy fool if Modano came on. Oh man, he's one of my all-time favorites. I love Mike Modano. Who's the NHL equivalent of Robert Horry?
That would be the Pocket Rocket, right?
What?
The Pocket Rocket. He's got 11.
I'm guessing David is talking about just somebody. Are you talking about a depth player that won a lot of Stanley Cups? Or are you talking about somebody who was kind of a star player that just ended up being on the right teams at the right times?
I think it's more of like that third or fourth piece. Like he's not the star. Like Robert Horry was always a good player.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the star.
And he hit the big shots. They called him Big Shot Bob. I mean, yeah. So.
But I would definitely say the Pocket Rocket.
Yeah, that's probably a piece that ended up winning a lot of championships. I don't know if we could really say Pocket Rocket then at that point because he wasn't really like a piece. Like, so this is a guy that's well traveled then by your standards. Wow. Wow, this is an interesting one. Maybe Frank Mahovlich or Pete Mahovlich.
Pat Maroon's won a lot of championships.
I would say probably. I think what he's talking about is probably Frank Mahovlich then at that point. Mahovlich was 533 goals, 1,103 points. He won 6 Stanley Cups, Calder. He was on Toronto's last Cup winner. He won with Montreal. I mean, I maybe Mahovlich or Tikkanen was another one. Tikkanen won 6 Stanley Cups. I mean, Tikkanen would be maybe that guy. I mean, he was a guy that was a piece. But he won 5 in Edmonton. He won that other one with the Rangers.
But wait. But one thing that I think drives the Robert Horry thing is he won with Houston 2, Lakers, I think 3, and 3 with the Spurs. If there's an NBA fan that can help me out. I mean, the NBA used to be great.
He won back-to-back with Houston. He won jeez. I think Horry may have more than Jordan. I think if I'm correct, I think he either has 6 or 7. I think he may even have 7.
All right,
yeah, it's 7. It's 7. I just confirmed that it's 7. because he won with Houston in 94 and 95. Never forget 94. Thanks. I hate saying this, but thanks, John Starks. Should have turned the ball over to Ewing. Just let Ewing do his thing.
Well, they were trying to win it all, and they could have gone to the inside. They put Hakeem Olajuwon on him on the final play right there.
And then he won 3 in LA. And then, hold on. LA won. Yeah, they won in 99 2000. That was the first Kobe and Shaq one. That was over Indiana. Then they won again in 2001. I think LA won like 3 in a row. And then that's right. So the San Antonio one was 2007 because they beat LeBron. That was LeBron's first finals appearance. And then it was also you know what? They lost to the Spurs. That's right. 2003 we lost to the Spurs. But did the Spurs? No, Spurs didn't win in 04. That was Detroit that won that in 04. So you had to win 2 with the Spurs. No, 02 was LA. 02 was LA. Yeah, that was the year they beat New Jersey. They beat Philadelphia in 01. 02 was LA. So he won 3 in a row. He won 3 in a row with LA, 2 with Houston, and then another 2 with San Antonio. But
hey guys, I'm gonna.
It was 04, 05. It was 05 and 07. Okay, got it. Now I got it.
I remember working at, I think, Stouts when I was there, when I remember him hitting the shot. Guys, I'm going to sign off. I will talk to you later.
I'm going to sign off, too, at this point. Yeah. So, yeah, but thank you all for joining us. We appreciate that. Still 132 viewers right now. Went for almost 2 hours. A good, I would say, 40, 50 minutes of Q&A time. And Anthony even came back for the end of that. But, yeah, so this is a pretty big one. So, Islanders big game tomorrow night. They have Buffalo. Rangers big game with Tampa. New York hockey, full swing come playoff stretch right here.
The Rangers play the Lightning tomorrow?
Tomorrow night, yep.
Oh, so the Rangers can do the Islanders a huge favor if they beat Tampa Bay. I would.
Yeah. I was about to say every Islander fan should be a Ranger fan tomorrow night. Tell you that much.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So those will be big points. So yeah, and like Mike says, please remember, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the heart if you're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and hit the thumbs up on here. Gets the algorithms going. It means more material, more events, more giveaways. I know somebody asked about a watch along in the chat earlier on. I definitely want to. The Rangers trying to clinch the Central. Oh my god, that means more Mark gas too for everybody.
Epic.
So, but yeah, everybody, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that. We'll see you next week. You guys all have a good night. Let's go Rangers.